So I'm not going to waste my time. You've been wanting to lose fat for 3 months, 6 months, a year now. You want to be actually respected by your friends. You don't want to be fat shamed anymore. And yet even after all of this time, you still haven't made any progress. Even though you might have seen 100 of these jacked fucking influencers out there trying to show you the secret to getting jacked. It just doesn't work. It doesn't seem like you've been able to stay consistent and make any progress. And I know this because that's the exact position I was in. But in the last 2 years, I've been able to lose over 17 pounds. And I'm going to share with you the exact method that I used to go from this fat little Genshin Impact player with zero good habits to actually staying consistent and losing the fat. And I know this advice has a 100% success rate because I also used it to get both of my brown parents into the gym as well. So, most videos would probably just spend the next 10 minutes just BSing and giving you no value. And then by the end, they'd hide all the good stuff to keep you watching. But I'm not going to do that. The secret, the actual problem, the thing that you need to solve if you want to lose the fat isn't the correct diet or the right, nutrition or the right workout plan that you need to lose fat. The reason that you're fat right now is simply that you aren't consistent. And I know that sounds kind of simple, like gay advice, but it's the truth. If you simply were consistent on the good habits, if you didn't procrastinate, if you didn't let yourself just do all the shitty habits while not doing any of the good habits, you would be fine right now. You wouldn't be fat. You would actually look good. So instead of giving you the equivalent of 50 YouTube shorts worth of diet advice or advanced tips that don't actually mean anything to you, I'm going to show you exactly how to stay consistent, because that's the only problem. The only thing that's standing between where you are and where you want to be is just you doing the actual habits on the right time. Because you already know how to lose fat. Genuinely, if you just think about it, if you just stop eating like a kindergartner, if you actually just work out at like a consistent interval, and you do things like get good sleep and whatever, like common sense, you'll lose fat. So the reason that you're fat right now isn't a lack of knowledge, it's just that you aren't consistent enough yet. So how was it that I went from this fat little Genshin Impact player to actually being consistent in just a few weeks? Well, I realized that trying to lose fat is actually a lot like trying to level up your fitness skill in a video game. Imagine if you played in like an RPG game or a game where there's different levels that you have for your character. We can imagine that trying to lose fat is simply like us trying to level up from a very low level to grinding it up to the point where we have a high level. So instead of giving you some shitty fat loss techniques that are not going to actually mean anything to you, I'm going to show you how I use the same exact tactics that video games, the most addictive things in the world, use to keep us hooked, to also stay consistent at losing fat. And the way I'm going to do this is to give you an analogy. I have it written down here. Imagine that you load it into a video game. You sat there on your computer, you're downloading it, you're going through like all the different like terms and conditions, and eventually you actually get into the game. And as soon as you load in, you're thrown against the final boss. You don't even know the controls yet, so you're just like button mashing on the fucking keyboard to try and like find how the hell you even move. Imagine if you just sat there at level 1, no armor, no skills, literally nothing, against the level 100 boss. What would happen? Well, most likely, unless you're hacking, you just get clapped. You get absolutely railed in one hit, and you just die. And so that's the reason that no video games out there do that is, of course, it doesn't make sense. Why would you put yourself against somebody that's a higher level than you? And so instead what they'll do is they'll give you this tutorial level. Then they'll give you, after that, the first boss, the first level 1 skeleton you gotta be. Then you go and do these small quests. Okay, go into this part of the world, get 5 pieces of wood. Okay, go and do that quest. Go find that level 3 wizard and, I don't know, butt rape him. I don't know, whatever the game tells you to do. And over time, over the course of a few days of grinding, suddenly you're at the point where you can actually beat the final boss. Because you've leveled yourself and your character and your skills up to the point where you can actually stand a chance rather than just sitting there naked against that level 1 boss and just getting 2-shot. Why is this important? Why did I give you that analogy? Well, here's the thing. Every single time so far you've tried to lose fat, you've done the exact opposite of what I've been telling you. What do we do each time? Well, what I used to do when I was that fat little kid that actually wanted to lose fat is I would go down to like the nearby open gym, or I'd go in my room, try and do this hard 20-minute YouTube high intensity workout. Or I'd try and go for a run, or I'd try and just do some of these good habits that I know I need to do. But the problem was I set the difficulty level way too hard for myself. So instead what I'd do is I'd sit there trying studying for half an hour. But because of my like fried dopamine levels from 10 years of just frying my brain on YouTube, after 5 years of literally just doing nothing but playing video games, my studying skill just wasn't high enough to actually stay consistent from a 1-hour study session. Because I hadn't exercised for the entirety of COVID, I literally couldn't physically do a push-up. So trying to do a 20-minute high-intensity workout just wouldn't work. And so you'll be sat there on your computer at the end of the day going, oh my God, why are all the good habits so hard? Imagine if we could just short-circuit that. Imagine a world where, I'm not joking, you actually had fun doing the good habits. Imagine a world where you could genuinely sit there and tell yourself, okay, I'm going to study today, and then actually do it. That would be sick, right? And here's the interesting thing. I was able to do it by using the technique I'm going to show you right now. And the way I did this, after 5 years of just being this fat little Genshin Impact addict, is through using this technique called creating my starter quests. And here's how it worked. I was stuck for 2 reasons, right? Number 1, the difficulty level I set for myself was too high. And number 2, the reward for doing the good habit just wasn't high enough. Because if you, for example, worked out one day and suddenly you saw like a chiseled like bicep muscle, you'd actually be pretty motivated because you saw quick results. But that's not how it works when you're trying to lose fat. Instead, what usually happens is for the first period of time, you get absolutely zero rewards. Even after working out for 5 days in a row, you might not see any big difference. And that's extremely demotivating if you have the wrong retarded mindset that I used to have. So the rate that I basically went from this fat little Genshin Impact player, and I keep on saying that, but it's because it's actually true, is through using this technique called creating my starter quests. It's really simple. What I did was I told myself, okay, if I could study for an hour a day, if I could work out for an hour every single day, I would already be doing it. So it makes sense that, okay, if I can't do that high level of difficulty, I have to reduce it all the way down to my skill level in real life. So here's what I did. I took a piece of paper right here, and I told myself, okay, I'm literally just going to work out for 2 minutes. And you might be thinking, wait, what the hell? 2 minutes? That's not going to do shit. But the truth is, we're not trying to get results right now. And it's going to sound weird, but again, when you're trying to do these starter quests, let's say you're in a video game, the goal isn't to suddenly get to level 100 and beat the final boss. You get these starter quests so that you get reinforced, so that you get rewarded for the effort you're putting in. You do these starter quests, and each time, for example, I worked out for 2 minutes, or I read for just 3 minutes, or I just went to bed at like a reasonable time. What would happen is that, let's say each time I did that, I got 1 XP added to my skill level in real life. And I sound like a faggot when I'm saying that, but that's just the best way I can explain it. Each time, even if you work out for just 2 minutes, you're going to get a little bit of XP that comes in the form of your brain just rewiring. So the next time you try and work out, it's going to be just a little bit easier. Then the next time you do, it's a little bit easier. And so what I did was I took this starter quest tracker and I wrote down all these numbers that you might see right here. And how it works is that each time, for example, I work out for 2 minutes, literally I just do like 5 squats and 5 sit-ups and that's it. Or I read like Harry Potter for like 3 minutes, I would tick off that day. And if you do that for 7 days in a row, what that means is that you've effectively just added 7 XP to the skill, and now you can do 10 minutes of working out. Maybe you can actually study for 10 minutes instead of just reading. Maybe you go to bed a little bit early, you wake up at 6:30. The truth is, it's not that you can't be consistent. It's just that you've set the difficulty level too high for yourself. I don't know why I did this, whatever. And so here's what's interesting. I said earlier that this has 100% success rate. And I know that because not only did I go from this fat little slob for 5 years to getting consistent in literally just 2 weeks of time, I also got my mom into the gym. I brown parent in literally just a few days. And for the past 3 months, she went from basically not doing any form of exercise for the entirety of COVID to now going to the gym 4 times a week, genuinely enjoying it. If you have brown parents, you probably realize how much of an achievement that is. But it's true. And here's how I did it. What I did was, at first, I went through the usual mistake that most people go through, where I was hyping up my mom, being like, oh yeah, when you work out, you're suddenly going to look really good. You're going to have high levels of motivation and shit, all that. But when I got my mom into the gym, what I saw is that she set the difficulty level too high for herself. I saw her, let's see her like looking at it from the other side of the gym. She was on the treadmill doing like a brisk walk, but she would do it for like an hour. And after a few days of doing this, I remember back just in the winter of this year, it's 2025 if you're watching this later, I remember I walked into her room at 6 p.m. because that's the usual time that we go to the gym. And as I walked in, I saw her look at me with like this almost fed up, like frustrated expression on herself. And she was like, okay, Atharv, I can't go to the gym today. I feel tired. I haven't made any progress. I don't want to do it. It's too hard. And as soon as I saw her say that, as soon as I heard her say it's too hard, I knew for a fact that she was just bullshitting. And I don't mean that to disrespect her, but it's just that she set the difficulty level too high for herself. So what I told her instead is I was just like, okay, mom, here's the thing. All we're going to do is we're going to do just 10 minutes of exercise today. Come to the gym with me. Go on the treadmill. Literally just take a book or your phone with you. Do 10 minutes of a brisk walk and then go and sit down. And she looked at me like, wait, what the hell? Why are you telling me to do 10 minutes? But I told her again, wait a minute. Mom, if you could do an hour of working out, you already would be. So instead of just forcing you to do something that you know you're not going to be consistent on, just do 10 minutes today. And the way I told her this, and it was a really interesting analogy I gave her, was I told her, okay, if you just do 10 minutes of working out today, you're just casting a vote. Imagine this is an election. You're casting a vote for the version of you that's going to get jacked. The version of you that's going to get skinny. The version of you that looks at yourself and actually likes the way you look. I told her, okay, the point of working out for 10 minutes isn't to just suddenly get jacked. It's just to become the version of you that doesn't skip workouts. And I know that sounds kind of like cringe and whatever, but dude, using this advice, she literally hasn't skipped a workout for like 4 months, bro. She literally drags me to the gym sometimes. That's how motivated she is, just because I gave her this simple system to stay consistent. If you found value in this video, I have a few things to tell you. First of all, I'm actually pretty proud of you because, bro, you literally sat through a 15-minute unedited video and actually got through it and found value in it. You're not like any of the other retards in our generation, bro. If you want to learn more about how to get jacked, how to get straight A, and of course, I'm still on this journey just like you, but I've gotten through a few steps ahead. And so I just make these videos for people like you, people like younger me, to learn about things like how to lose fat, how to get straight A's, how to quit your addictions. And so if you want to get ahead and join this movement of enlightened teens that get ahead and stop wasting your time like all of the other kids in our generation, go down and subscribe to get more videos just like this on your recommended page. And as always, my name's Atharv. See you soon, bro.